Welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mr. Raven. Alright, so yesterday I went over do and or don'ts for the Templar. So today I'm going to continue my mini episode, my mini series of do or don'ts for the DK healer. Okay, so the Dragonknight healer is probably one of the most underestimated healers in Elder Scrolls, and with the upcoming summer set, we're going to be looking at a few changes that are going to magnify the DK healer's functionality. Not that it's not already functional, but it's definitely it's going to improve upon its role, its function in this role. So, big thumbs up. So, take this with a grain of salt that this is, subject to changes with the upcoming summer set. So, first thing I want to go ahead and do today is get right into, let me go ahead and check out the comments really quick. Didn't even open my phone up yet, but let me go ahead and do that. And once again, sorry about my voice. It's the season. 'Tis the season. Yo, morning David, morning Joshua. No, I'm not on PTS yet. I will be on it, but I just wanted to do this show this morning on this. Surprise, not a patch note review. I will be doing that. Oh, I will be on that. So I'm going to be going over the patch notes. I've got a lot of things to do, but I definitely wanted to hit this up really quick. Love that Evan Hart pack on. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I really like this outfit that I put together. I love this. This is how I rolled when I crafted sets. Okay. So, a lot of really cool things about the Dragonknight healer. The Dragonknight healer offers a lot of shielding system. So, a lot of people want to say, oh, well, Dragoknights don't heal for much. Okay, first thing we're going to get into, the most important aspect, the big do for the DK healer, is going to be Ignis Shields. The first thing that the DK healer always is capable of doing is shielding first and offsetting or healing the difference. So you'll notice down here that I'm initially shielding for 2,410. Now what I want you to imagine here is imagine if that 2,410 was applied to the healing effect. That would go ahead and make up the difference. So when I take a look at Combat Prayer, it only heals for 5,230. But 2,000 and so much is being mitigated. So if I wasn't mitigating and I was like a traditional healer, that would be healing for 7,000. You know what I'm saying? So about a little under 8K. So very, 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 very important to understand the way the DK is designed. It's designed different. It's meant to shield, to mitigate upfront damage, and then offset the healing difference. And I love that. That's probably why I really love the DK healer, especially. Okay, so unlike the Templar, who has Radiant Aura, which is a very, very, very powerful AoE for the magic steel, all the other healers lack the AoE capability. So they're limited to what? Single target application for magic drain. So that doesn't make it any less effective, but it's not, well, it is a little less effective because the Templar, that's its strength, is group utility. Okay, so the strength of the Templar, group utility. So as a DK, I don't have that functionality, but that doesn't mean I don't want to apply it. Now in a trial scenario, I might not be using Elemental Drain, because if a Templar knows how to use his Radiant Aura sufficiently, Elemental Drain becomes an obsolete, then this becomes an optional ability slot for the DK. But if I'm in a 4-man, and obviously I am the only healer, this becomes a do, and in the trials, it becomes, situational, based on what type of healers we have in party. So, just a quick food for thought. So yes, as you can see, my Elemental Drain is max, and I use Elemental Drain on the DK. Okay. Also, keep in mind, as mentioned yesterday, I could also use Force Siphon. As you can see, it's not completely unlocked. I find it difficult to manage with 1.5 second cast. It's the only problem I have with it. It's the only big deal about it. All right. Follow-up is the Obsidian Shard. Now, this has seen already one change. It's going to be going under another one. I really like this because when I hit the major mending, okay, so you'll see the tooltip for 6,258. We hit that major mending. We go back into it. And now, didn't apply. I guess it applies after. I thought the major mending would apply. That makes sense, though. Anyways, we'll get the major mending. That'll amplify the healing effect. Okay? So just keep that in mind. I thought it would be reflective in the tooltip. My bad. Anyways, Obsidian Shard has a stun effect, has a little bit of damage. The other one damages for more. But remember, this is a healing capability. I use this. Alright? Structured Entropy, optional. I use it for my major sorcery, and also I get max health increased by 8%. Keep in mind, Igneous Shield scales off of what? Max health. So also consequently, what the DK healer can do that most other healers can't is do what? Go in heavy armor. So if you run a heavy set like Kags, or a heavy set like Juliano's, or a heavy set like Torok's Pack, then guess what? Your Igneous Shield will mitigate more because of those passive to increase your max health. Okay? Makes sense. None of the other healers can pull that off because they don't have a mitigating system that scales health like the DK does. I much prefer light armor. That's my playstyle. But I know a ton of DK healers that roll heavy armor, and it works. Why? Because of this ability. And because they already know I'm mitigating first, healing the difference. And that's the way the DK healer works. Very flexible as far as armor configuration goes. More than any other healer is going to be able to do that. Though I wish ZOS would introduce heavy armor healing sets for the DK. Just a thought. And of course I'm getting stalked with somebody running around me. Okay, Cauterize is a big one for the DK healer. Why? Because it's another healing effect. So it's a set and forget. Click it, boom, and it's there. You'll also notice that I don't have inner light on this bar. Why don't I have inner light? Because I'm getting the major prophecy with this ability. And all of these effects, this effect scales my health, major mending, apply the Obsidian Shard, and that's not going to do anything but apply the major breach, and Warhorn's not going to scale off max magicka anyways. So I don't need my inner light on this bar. So you can rearrange a couple configurations, but I find this to be the most effective. Back bar, you will, or the front bar, you will see my inner light. You will also see my reviving barrier. Now keep in mind, once again, reviving barrier, you can use Cauterize, or not Cauterize, you can use magma armor, magma shell. Magma shell is a great alternative until you get your barrier unlocked. Why? Because it has a shielding system. It's a great ulti for it. Also, in the resto staff, you can use Pansera. Pansera is also another great ultimate for any healer. So, but if you're going to use a class-based ultimate for healing, the magma shell is great. I prefer the barrier slotting because why? It's my main bar. It's the bar I'm always going to be on. And when I go down here to magical aid, I'm getting an increase of 10% towards my magical recovery. Really nice. This is once again optional, but I use Healing Ward. Once again, I'm a mitigating healer. I love Healing Ward. It's very flexible, mitigates for all healers, flexible, but it's also optional. So I can afford to deslot this if needed. So if someone's using an ability that won't stack, I could switch this out. And also, I usually can also decide if I don't need the barrier and I need a cleanse, do I go with the mutagen, or I can go with the effective purge? Keep in mind that some mechanics have debuffs in its mechanic system or within the dungeon. So if as a DK healer, I don't have the cleanse that the Templar has. So my only two options are either mutagen, which is a single target, or I can use effective purge. Now, you want effective purge to reduce that cost. You really want to, utilize that to the best of your ability. But once again, it's going to be situational based on content. Healing Springs, pretty standard for majority of healers. Combat Prayer, I don't have a healer without it. Now, the Templar, like I said yesterday, we discussed the Luminous Shards and the Energy Orbs. Now, I will use Energy Orbs on a Templar, but I will never use both. Why? Because the global cooldown, the Synergy has the same global cooldown when a player hits it. So if they hit the shards and I throw an orb, they can't synergize with the orb for 20 seconds, right? So I make that decision. Do I need the energy orbs or should I go with luminous shards? Okay. And now if there are 2 Templars, I'll usually rearrange the build. Now I typically don't run trials with 2 Templars, but usually I would say 1 run the luminous shards, 1 run the energy orbs. Once again, inner light. Another. Trying to think here. There was something else I wanted to go over with it. Oh yeah. So when I go to Earth and Heart, this becomes another optional ability is igneous weapons. Now major sorcery and major brutality are pretty easy to get. It's one of the downsides to this ability, but what's really nice about it, if your party members don't wanted to get another ability slotted without depending on a major sorcery, now keep in mind you can use potions and abilities to get this, but if you coordinate, you can use this with the DK healer to do what? Apply the effect to add another DPS ability to the bar on your DPS. Really, really nice. I rarely use it, but it is there just in case I can coordinate with certain players. Really comes in handy in certain scenarios. So I always have it on standby. Also keep in mind the one aspect to the DK healer that every class offers an innate passive to the activation, right? I want you to keep that in mind. Templar was minor sorcery yesterday, right? So what does the DK healer bring to the table, right? That's going to be very, very easy. It's right here. Minor brutality. When I cast an Earth and Heart ability, you and your group members within 30 meters gain minor brutality for 20 seconds, increasing your weapon damage by 5%. So Templars, minor sorcery. DK healer, minor brutality. So it really buffs the stamina DPS. Really, really nice. So that's what the DK healer brings to the table. So anytime I use the igneous shield, which is on here, or the obsidian shard, or the upcoming changes to the ash cloud, that's right, I'm buffing my party members. Really, really nice. Okay, and optional sets. Let's go in. Now you'll see that I'm using Sanctuary, right? So I'm using the Sanctuary set right here. I use always Spell Power Cure. So if you're going to go with the heavy armor build for the DK, I don't, but I know players who do. I would use like Spell Power Cure, jewelry, a staff, and maybe one piece, and then build around that. But you can go with something like Cags, Sanctuary, shielding system like Combats, Physician, Trinimac. Tons of options for the DK. And also keep in mind, Trinimac can drop in heavy. So that's a nice thing about Trinimac. Trinimac's not just limited to light armor. Trinimac, one of the best things I like about Rothgar versus any of the other DLCs is they made the world drops an optional drop loot as far as like Trinimac. Trinimac can drop in heavy and it can drop in light. So you can get a Trinimac heavy chest, Trinimac, some heavy pieces. I wish they would do that more to give more flexibility to build. I would really like to see that in the future more and more. So really, really nice. But yeah, Mending, Worm, Sanctuary, Spell Power Cure, all of those apply to the DK. All right, nothing changes in that aspect. The new one, Jorvlin's, really nice. So let me check out the comments, and then we'll do a run, and I'll show you how we play the DK healer. Okay. Love that. Read the devs' comments on the changes, and do gotta say I agree with most. Cool deal. Yo, Swag, what's up? Swag's in the house. Cauterize is getting a buff distance. Yep. Definitely. It's going to help the DK. With Somerset, right? Yep. It's going to get a buff. It's supposed to. We'll see. So just spam Igneous Shield and Healing Springs. I love you, Storm. You don't use Stone Fist for burst heal and some damage. No, I use the Stone Fist for healing, for like the burst, right? Twilight Remedy. Twilight Remedy I don't use on the DK. I've tried it in the past and I used it. Only problem of it is one synergy now with the global cooldowns, it's a lot more effective currently on the Warden because of the ground heal. So there's 2 different synergy activations for the Warden, and no other class really has that many synergies applied to it. Unfortunate. I've been using Healer's Habit and the new one from the scaler called Peak. Yeah, really good setup. That's a good setup as well. Like I said, DK, if you know how to play the DK, it has a lot of flexibility. Not as much as maybe the Templar within certain aspects, but it doesn't limit the DK healer's performance or options. You just got to know, okay, if I go light, my shielding system's going to be a little lower. If I go heavy, my healing's going to be a little lower. So you got to bank on one or the other. Okay.
Not enough, eh?
Banish cells 1. Now once again, the event's going on. So I could do both, but I just want to get through it because I just want the coffers. I'll be honest with you. Alright, so we're going to do specifics. So, Banish Cells Uno, Vaults of Madness, and I don't need monster sets. I don't really need any set, really, in the game. It's probably another reason why on this platform I don't like whatever, because everybody's like, you want to do this? And I'm like, no, because I don't have inventory space. And knowing me, I probably want to keep some stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely wanting to check out the PTS. I'm going to be going over the patch notes probably tonight or tomorrow. Let me make sure that's prioritized right. Yeah, we're good. All right. But DK heals. It was funny because I appreciate, by the way, guys, I do appreciate all the support, especially because there's like some players trying to oust me, and if you guys have noticed, they've been hitting they're excessively hitting dislike to try to keep the numbers, whatever. But usually, sooner or later, it scales out. Hey, Mystic, for Warden Healer, is Leeching Vines good or no? Leeching Vines is badass for Warden Healer. Warden Healer probably has the most options. I feel like the Warden Healer has so many options, it's difficult to decide what you need on what you're going to use on the Warden Healer. The Warden Healer is just ridiculously littered with options.
You doomed yourself by coming here. You know that, don't you?
Okay, once again, just got trash pods. I'm not too worried about it. Let's go. Open this stupid thing. So I always open up with the shield system. Usually do a fist. Nice thing, if you see healers, you can stun them. Heavy attack will give you that major mending. Now keep in mind, Templars have the minor mending. So the DK doesn't have the minor mending. That's why it's so dependent on the shield system for that upfront mitigation.
All those within will pay dearly.
I always weave in between my rotation, keep that major mending apply, but I also get it with the Ignis shield. So, really nice thing. Get the 4 seconds on the major mending, and then apply the heals. You don't want to keep damaging it. Too much DPS! You just killed the poor dude. The more you damage it, it redirects that damage back at you. Come on.
Your soul is mine.
Okay, I'm gonna hit that war horn. Get the elemental drain up. Okay, now I'm gonna always be in between the two DPS, applying the buffs. Arr, arr. One second. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. I know, I'm coming.
I need aid.
On certain content, I'll also use the barrier on large pulls. Oh, wrong bar. Hold still, you bastard. DK healing's not, it's like probably one of the easiest heals when you get it down. It can be difficult in the beginning for new players to like get how the rotation works with DK. But I always tell like new players, like I'm really happy that skill advisory's out, because I think a lot of players, like up until the skill advisory, I really had to struggle explaining to less educated people how DK healing worked. But this healing actually reminded me of one of the builds in Rift. Was like a shield build for clerics. Clerics had like 3 different type of healing. Every class could play every role in Rift as well, and those were called souls. But the cleric obviously had most optional souls for healing. So it was always, but you know, it wasn't necessarily the most powerful healer, but it comboed up well with the different types of healing it could do. And there was like one of the souls that had like a shielding type system. And when I first got into DK healing, it reminded me of that. Once again, healers are situational, so there's certain things that you need to like pay attention to on the fly. But one of the biggest things for me is always the shield first, add the debuffs, add the springs, follow through, and a buff. Okay. Now you can actually kind of go over here and avoid the fire altogether. I don't know if people know that. Oh. It's right, like, yeah, right here. This little curve or something. Let me check out the comments. Somebody might be waiting for that little quest person. Oh, Robert, thank you, dude. Thank you. Currently, I'm running LE Drain, Aura, Shards, Orbs on my Templar Healer. Dude, oh, dude, Uology, you like to provoke me. Oh. Yeah, dude, Robert, thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Uology likes to mess with me. When we do dungeons, if we pick up a random healer, he like whispers, he's like, hey, you got, and if it's a Templar, he's like, hey, you got Shards and Orbs equipped, right? And, all of a sudden, like, whatever, he's like, and then he'll just provoke some stuff just to be funny. And he's like, Mystic, look at that. That dude's running Shards and Orbs. And I'm like, ugh. And then he's not running like anything to give minor sorcery. And we're on mag tunes. And I'll freak the flip out on people. I'm like, where's my minor sorcery buff? It's a fucking Templar healer. Why am I not getting my minor sorcery? He's like, well, they have Shards and Orbs. And I'm like, oh. He'll do that shit. Uology will pull off some stuff like that. He's funny like that, man. Dude, I can't even pick up no more stuff. It's so sad. I'll delete a bunch of stuff. I could probably sell that. Just get rid of some of this green stuff. I know! It's not my fault. They make it too tempting. I know, I'm coming. It's Mystic's fault. It's my fault! I really can't wait for the change to the Ash Cloud. I'm really looking forward to going over these patch notes. I will be going over them with you guys when I do it. So I haven't taken a look at it. I want to experience this together with a couple players. It's kind of whatever. Dun, da, 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 da. Yeah, baby. Now, a perfect dive. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Maybe a 3. It's pretty ugly. Why can't I... What the hell is that? Couldn't even target the thing. Pick a side. I'm always jumping around. I get bored. I don't have to. I can just do this. Which way? Doesn't matter. Let's go, let's go. The people who come out with these builds now for the options, I just want to see them play it. That's what I want to see. They know it. Let's see you do it. Any of that. Screw it. Now I will not be on PS4 the rest of the well, I will do the my crafting stuff this way, not that way. What are you doing? No, up this way. This way. I will be on like PTS. I will be going over certain things. I'm going to be finding out what I'm allowed, what I'm permitted. I've heard certain things, so we'll see. Jewelry crafting, I'm really looking forward to biting my fingers into it. I know a couple little tricks already. I will be discussing that if I'm permitted to with the viewers. So that's something I'm really, really enjoying. Let me get back here to get this buff applied. Now, if I'm in a compromised position is when you'll see me do the Obsidian Shard. If I'm, like, out of my group's range, or with not in between, to do, like, Combat Prayer for burst or something, because then I can use that for the burst. That's a nice friggin' shoulder. Pretty slick. That's a pretty nice shoulder. Now, configurations will change. I'll also go over configurations, what I'm going to be doing. Healing, I'm actually looking forward to using more monster sets in a lot of builds that I haven't done before. And we all know I'm particular to Sentinel because it offers stamina. If I use a sword and board in the back in prior builds, if I wasn't using Worm or something, I really, really, really like Sentinel. And Chokethorn's going to be good, but one of the sets I really anticipate to make a huge impact that I've never used in a configuration other than PvP is maybe Troll King. The reason being, Troll King, the way regen works is you get whatever your regeneration is what you gain per second, right? So I look for something like Troll King with these new setups to be a little bit more viable, because when a party member drops below a certain point, they'll get that regen. Now, will it be applicable in every situation? No, but in vet DLCs, when you're starting to see huge chunks of life, start, being taken off due to mechanics, a set like Troll King is going to turn heads. Because not only are you healing, but now they're regaining that per second, their health. So I'm really looking forward to that. Let me check out the comments. Soul Assault. Just spam Breath of Life. Keep up the good videos. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Shards and Balls, Mystic. You should use Alkosh. No, stop it. My DK healer is a Dark Elf. Works well, yeah. I know. You're right. You're right, Space. I know. I fell. Such a cruel world. I know. I know. Everybody's like, come on, Mystic. We're just trying to get through this. Once again. Easy peasy. Restoration Staff of Oblivion.
He's gone.
Stop it, Zoss.
Nothing's happening. Seems the mad architect's destruction did not allow us
Zoss,
to
stop it.
this plane. Unfortunate, but we'll have to make do.
Okay, let me check that. Oblivion needs help. That set needs help. I want to build an Oblivion set. Yes. It's everything I've ever dreamed of.
Where do we go?
We can't stay here. Not like this.
I'll figure something out.
Such a scrub because I don't use Alkosh on a healer or Oblivion. I've been using Healer's Habit in the new one. Yep. I already did that. Yeah, anyways, yeah, the Dark Elf is really good for DK because you can switch in between. That's why I love the Dark Elf. But consequently, Argonian's good, Breton's good, High Elf can work really well too because of the max magic and the recovery. So a lot of flexibility between options. I just prefer the Dark Elf. Yo, Dawn, what's up? Everything's going good, man. No, I'm going on today, but I wanted to get this video out, and I already know about I haven't gone over the patch notes, but I wanted to get this out first, and then I'm going to go over the patch notes a little bit later, and then I'll be on the PTS. And unfortunately, because I will be doing streams, but from this point on, I'll be focusing on Somerset and trying to figure out what I'm allowed to do for content, what I won't be allowed to do. So long as the NDA, and I might have to get a hold of Gina or somebody from that, just to be specific. But, Gina is usually good about posting that stuff anyways on the forums. So I imagine if I go through it, I'll probably find out if I have any questions. Gina or one of her staff members are usually quick to respond back. So instead of boats and O's, it's now shards and balls. Always balls, man. Still AD and Vivek. Yup, dude. I'm going to get on later this week, though, after the event, for sure. Working on a DC Stam Warden. No, no. Stay AD, brother. Stay AD. One of my friends here named Uology made a DC character when we're all EP. Dude, by the way, Dawn, I really like some of the things that you've been pointing out. I saw a configuration video that was pretty good because I get suggested, and I'm like, Dawn came out with a configuration video, and I loved how you pointed out in the PS settings how to adjust your controller. That was slick, dude. That was really cool stuff. I really enjoyed that. That was like, dude, that is so cool. That is so cool. Because a lot of people forget, you can do it on the mapping, on whatever, but you're limited. But you can change the mapping in the PS setting. I was like, Dawn did some really cool stuff right there. That was slick. That was slick. There is some really good changes for non-meta healers that look really interesting. I do need to get a PC. Dude, Dawn, you should definitely get a PC, man. Because you got 2 weeks in advance, man. So if you got on the PC, you'd have it 2 weeks prior to your PS. And then anybody that you play with on the PS, you have the heads up. And the nice thing about the PTS, most of the time on the PTS, there's no ego issue. We're all there for the same thing. So everybody will be checking out normal, vets, content, and everybody kind of goes through the configurations, so they'll test it in every scenario and in the upcoming changes. And that's what I really like about PTS. So PTS is allowing me to take my current configuration, test it out in the content, take another configuration I'm working on, test it in the content. And that's where I really decide how I'm adjusting my builds based on PTS alone, plus 2 week early access on PC prior to launches. So you should definitely think about getting a PC, brother, just for that purpose alone. Even if you don't max out everything, because I'm still a little under max, but I think about 50-60 points under current cap. It's good for that alone. Plus, I like playing with my PC viewers. I'm staying AD for Vivek. Yes, the DC's going. Okay, so he's running short. All right. Thanks so much, man. No, dude, that was slick. That whole little setting thing, because literally when you went into the PS options, that was something I imagine a lot of players do not know. And I was like, that was slick. That was slick. That was so slick. So, but because I seen a little thing, and I don't see a lot of vids come from you because you usually go through rotations or stuff, which I find really helpful for most players, because most players, even if they have the build, they struggle in rotation. I'm not going to lie, in certain configs, I can too, depending. But When you did that one, I was like, this is slick. If you're a console player on PS4 and you don't know how to map a controller, go check out Don's video, because he shows you the option setting in your PS and in game how you can remap your controller to make sometimes things a little easier based on preference. It was really cool. It was a really cool video. I was like, that's slick. I've seen so many videos on PC settings and literally none on console. Right, dude? No, literally there was none. And that's why I thought it was slick. Because, like I said, you didn't just do the options, which most people would know. You went into the PS settings and showed how to remap. I was like, that's slick. That is slick shit. Right there. Right there. Bingo. That was slick. I was thinking about getting it for PC, but then you gotta do the grind all over. Yeah, dude, I'm on 3 platforms, David. Yo, tell me about the grind. I know, brother. Can Dawn and Mystic get a room? Shut up, Uology. Dude, no, it was a good video, though, Uology. You know, it was. Because I was like, oh, okay, cool deal, cool deal. But then when he went in the PS settings, like, a lot of people don't know how to do that. Like, that's what I thought. I was like, you know, how many people actually know how to remap? You know, it's just really cool shit. I always give props up to everybody. I have no hate. I have no animosity towards anybody. You know, I'm an asshole. We all know that. You know, I'm an ass, but I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, and I have no animosity towards people. Once again, I just try to play to have fun. I try to keep things to average players, because there's a lot of average players. So it's kind of like, you know. And I realized that one of the major things is trying. Now, if anybody asks, can you do DK in Vet Trials? Absolutely. One of my titles right here, Ophidian Overlord. Did it on DK Healer. I've done a lot of stuff on DK Healer. DK Healer is capable of doing everything. Now pair-ups, matchups. Let's talk about matchups and before I wrap it up. The DK in trial scenarios pairs really well with Templars. Insanely well. The DK in a Templar matchup is ridiculous. It is literally the most ridiculous lineup that you'll ever see. And that's why by certain people, I've been requested with this healer. Nightblades, I like Nightblade healing in trials. But, you know, I'm damaging. So it plays different. So it's a different setup with Nightblade. DK Warden's really good in trials. But I like to have one Templar in a trial typically because of the utility. But I don't like to have two because the utility is like, I'd rather get the other effects from like Warden for the toughness. Because that minor toughness, if the Warden's rotation's tight, that extra 10% comes in handy. Very, very handy. I like the DK. I love the Sorcerer, actually. Especially if I need CC control ever. So Sorc healers are, you know, not going to be utilized as frequent. But the negates also don't compromise current Sorcs. Configurations. So I can run the healing negate, get the effect to be applied. So something like Vet Hellraw, Sorc healers work really, really well. But I don't put like the Sorc with the DK. So I'll use a Warden or a Templar with the DK. Those are the two I'll pair with DK in trials. So I always, you know, will be specific about who I'm pairing up with as an optional healer. Nightblade, same thing. Nightblade, I'll actually pair Nightblade up with, I've paired Nightblade up with Sorc healer, Templar, and Warden. I haven't done it with the DK. So, you know, a lot of flexibility, but passives. I just want to keep those passive buffs applied. I want to know what my group has at their disposal, what we're needing to maximize performance. That's the only thing I'm looking at. If I do trials, which I don't always do. But I've been trying to help people. So let me check out the comments. I'll go once again, Robert. Thank you for that support, brother. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you roll DK Healer, and I'm glad you enjoy it. Star Trek, pretty good. Star Trek, I haven't played Star Trek Online, so I know. Terra in ESO and Star Trek Online. Terra is badass. I used to be a PC Terra player. Terra, I didn't like the end game, but for PvP, yeah, it's some pretty cool stuff. It's pretty cool in those battlegrounds. Pretty cool, man. So, anyways, guys, I'm gonna. What up? You're the work stream. Well, I do streams, so I don't know what you mean by work, but you know, I do stream. I'm streaming now, but yeah, I do streams. So, but this is, you know, just some things. Keep in mind, guys, like if I was in like Scale Caller Peak, right? I might deslot my healing ward for Purify, right? I have to keep certain things applied, like the buffs, the utilities, but optional heals like that, I might have to deslot to use a cleanse. So each class healer is going to, you know, depending on content, is going to be situational. And it's very, very important to understand that, right? Because one of the things I'm not going to give up, I'm not going to give up that Igneous Shield. I'm not going to give up that Elemental Drain. I'm not going to give up the Obsidian Shard. Structured Entropy, I could, so that's an option. Healing Ward's an option. Cauterize, not so much. I don't like to give up my Cauterize. Why? Because I get that Major Prophecy. Once again, Aggressive Warhorn. I do see a lot of people use Pansera versus the Aggressive Warhorn, and there are reasons for that, so that is an option. Once again, if you don't have Barrier, Magma Armor is a very, very, very good ultimate for the DK healer, though I wish they'd take the one morph and apply another effect to it to give it a little bit more. They have the shielding effect, but a little bit more like, do I want more shielding up front? Do I want more healing up front? Kind of give the option to the DK healer, as well as maybe DK tank, and let the DK tank necessarily maybe pick up something that gives it a little bit more like, I can heal now with an effect to be because I have already a shielding system. So I'd like to see them maybe address the morph option, the other morph option with Magma Armor in the future. Not a make or break, just, you know, food for thought. But Ash Cloud will be receiving a change. I will be going over those patch notes later this afternoon, or it may be later early today. But I do want to thank everybody for watching. Once again, I want to thank all of my subscribers, the people who support me, my sponsors. Thank all of you so much. And I hope this was a very helpful tutorial for people. Once again, I'm Mr. Craven, the CSO Daily. And as always, have a nice day.